Hello students, welcome to Btech360. This is the third in the list of 30 colleges that we are covering, which in our opinion, the students must keep an eye on and become a part of the consideration set beyond the IITs, NITs and IIITs. And the reason why we are talking about these 30 colleges is essentially because these are hidden in the states. People in South might not know some of these colleges in the North, and the people in North might not know some colleges in the West. But they're extremely good colleges, so much so that students start preferring these colleges as compared to even IITs, NITs and IIITs. Of course, maybe in the bottom half and so on and so forth. But the kind of preference, the kind of quality of students that join these kind of colleges and the kind of placements that happen is competing with some of the best national institutions that you have in the country. In that series, this is a third of the college that we're doing in. We already covered 2 colleges. Please go and visit them if you haven't. What we're going to talk about now is a college which is based in Punjab. This was established in 1956 by an industrialist. The core ideology of this particular college is to have industry and academia partnerships and create a college which suffices and services the needs of the industry in the state of Punjab and beyond also. In somewhere in 1985, I think it attained an autonomous status and now it's a university in itself. And more importantly, this college, though it's based in Punjab, also takes students from states beyond Punjab. More than half the students are from beyond the state of Punjab. And the kind of placement that this college has is extremely good. Let me tell you about this college. By the way, before I talk about the name and disclose the name of this college, 3 requests that I always have for the students. Please subscribe to Btech360. If you want me to cover any college, write to me in the message box. I'll cover that for you. And if you want to talk to a counselor, there's a WhatsApp number. Messages on this number. Our counselor will call you. Now about this college. It is consistently achieves high placement rates. The placement rates are always 90% plus. Not all IITs, NITs and IIITs can boast of this. A few of them for sure would. But I know for a fact that even the top IITs these days, 90% placement is a myth. So these people achieve a 90%. The other thing is the median salary is consistently between 10 and 12 lakh rupees. In fact, in the current year when I'm talking about it, the average salary is about 11.38 lakh rupees. Average salary. By the way, this college has very high intake. For a college to have such a high intake and still maintain an 11 lakh, 12 lakh kind of a median salary is extremely good, because the higher the intake, the median salary keeps falling. But in this particular college, it doesn't happen. It offers high paying opportunities. The highest is about 40-50 lakh rupees, especially in CSE and related branches, which we all know typically in some branches, the placements are very good. Top tier companies come in for placement. And in all NIRF ranking or any other ranking, it normally tops, at least in the north of India, it is always up there. That is the reason. And the college that we are referring to here is Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology in Patiala, in Punjab. It's called TIET also, and it's now a university. We'll talk of the placement stats, salary data, recruiters, job role-wise performance, everything that we're going to talk about here. But more importantly, as I told you, these are all hidden gems for many people out there who are looking for engineering education. Of course, people in North might know about it, but people in South, West and East may not know about it. What we're doing is we are uncovering about 30 colleges around the country in different states, which are extremely good in those particular states, very local in its stature, but have very good, extremely good placements and very good quality of students coming in there. It is just that people in the other parts don't know it. And more importantly, these colleges also accept students from beyond the state also. And that is what we're talking about, which is TIET. Now, what is a thing? If you just look at it from the perspective of the college, established in 1956. Now, which means it is there for the last 70 years. When a college is there for the last 70 years, its alumni would be placed across the country and across all the companies out there. Because mind you, it's always been achieving 90% plus kind of a placement rate. When you have that, those people who would have joined those companies 15, 20, 10 years back would be very high up in the hierarchy, and they'll come back to the alma mater to start recruiting. So any institution which has been there for a long time has an advantage of very good relationship with the industry, because of which you are able to place students and expand the number of companies that come for placement also. Like a few people from Thapar would have become entrepreneurs, they'll come back to Thapar to start recruiting, which is what is the advantage that they have, established in 1956. It's a private institution, of course. In the NIRF ranking, which is the Government of India ranking, it is ranked 29th best in the country, which means in the private space, it would be in the top 10 in the country. Now, that is extremely good if you know. The campus is 250 acres, one of the largest campuses that you find for a private university in this country. And the students is 10,095, of which boys are 64%, girls are 36%. And most importantly for all of you, this is very important, 68% of the students come from outside the state of Punjab, which is where we are covering this. The number of students who come from the outside the state of Punjab is extremely high here, because of which you should be looking at Thapar to get into the college. And that's the reason why we are also covering it, because you remember I told you about the median salary and placement outcome and all. When we deal with a 90% plus kind of a placement rate, when we deal with a 12 lakh rupees kind of a median or average salary, and we deal with 68% students from outside the state, everything augurs well in terms of the quality of intake, the quality of companies that come in, and the quality of placements that happen, which is what Thapar is all about. About 31% come from within the state. 131 students come from outside the country also. It is so aspirational that people from beyond India also want to come and study at Thapar. That's a very good checkbox for everyone who is looking at it. And the faculty is 731, which means we're dealing with about 1:15 kind of a student-faculty ratio. Now that is in brief what Thapar is all about. Let's look at placements. The placements 2 years back, we have a data for 23-24. This data submitted to Government of India in NIRF, which is National Institutional Ranking Framework, which is done by Ministry of Education, Government of India. So the data is slightly more authentic, and because it's signed on an affidavit and the institution submits that, so we'll refer to that data, right? Last year, 2 years back, 2,395 was the people who graduated, which means they joined about 4 years earlier. 2,146 were admitted. Graduating is 2,082. 1,708 were placed. 152 moved for higher education, which means that they didn't want to join the job market immediately. They wanted to study further also. 88.5% placement, median salary is 10 lakh rupees. If you go back a year, 11.89 lakh rupees is the median salary, 95% is the placement, and that's the number. 2293 admitted, 2259 graduated, 1962 placed, 193 opted for higher studies, 95% placement, 11.89 lakh rupees. In fact, the 24-25 data that we will show you also refers to that, because this is data from the official website of the institution, right? 1,690 is the number of students placed, 510 was the number of recruiters, 1.23 crores is the highest package, average salary is 11.38 lakh. This is not median salary, this is average salary. Mind you, earlier it was the median salary. So we are referring to almost similar bunch of data that the placement is between about 11 lakhs plus or minus. And the placement rate is about 90 to 95%, which is what seems to be the case everywhere. Now, when we look at this and compare it, because we told you one of the points that we are always making is we are trying to look at those colleges which compete with the IITs, NITs, IIITs, not at the top level maybe, but at the second half of the IITs, NITs and IIITs, and still deliver well. And so we compared Thapar with that at a median salary of 10 lakh rupees. If I were to compare it with a median salary of 11.5 lakh rupees, which is what they seem to be claiming now, these numbers would change dramatically, right? But even at 10 lakh rupees, 15 NITs have a lesser median salary than 10 lakh rupees. And 8 IIITs have a lesser median salary than 10 lakh rupees. And if this 11.5 lakh rupees, this would be about 18 and this will be about 10. That's the kind of institution that we're talking of. An institution which has been there for about 70 years in the north of India, has been doing extremely well over the last 70 years. This is not a new institution. Many of the NITs, IIITs are new. Especially the baby IITs and NITs, IIITs and all that came in are very, very new, which means their alumni would be nowhere. In the sense, they've been there for the last 10, 15 years only. So they would not have many alumni out there in the market. But this one has been there for ages. And because it's been there for ages, wherever you go, you will find a Thaparite. And I'll show you in data of how many students claim that they studied at Thapar and what are they doing. I'll also talk to you as we move along at the fag end. Keep watching this video and you'll understand the kind of data that we have to help you understand the strength of Thapar Institute of Technology and decide for yourself. We're not pushing this institution. We're only saying that it must be an option for you. Don't go by the name saying, I want to study at NIT, IIT or IIIT. There is a better case at times. You don't want to study at a particular NIT, but study at Thapar. I'm not saying this for if you get into, NIT Trichy or Surathkal or Warangal and those kind of things, or any of the top 5-10 IITs that you have. But beyond the point, what matters is not the quality of college, the age of the college, and the branch that you want to study. That's the most important thing. If you get here into a branch of your choice, you should always take this as compared to a brand that you're talking about, because coaching institutions will always push you on that, because they want to make a claim that so many of my students are in IITs. It should not work that way. You should look at what benefits you in terms of your student outcome, which is placements. And from that perspective, this institution must be a part of your option set. In fact, when we looked at the 10 lakh rupees, NIT Meghalaya, the median salary is 10.5 lakh. By the way, one of the things that happens in some of these institutions is the placement is not even 90% and still the median salary is lesser. Some of these institutions have a placement of 70-80% also. They move a lot of students out for opting out of placement process also. And that is the reason why we are recommending this particular institution. Now, the seat distribution, how many seats do they have? In all, last year they have 3,390 seats across, and you have all kinds of programs, mind you. CSE is 960 seats, CSE with Patiala campus is 420, Doirabasi campus is 120, and then you have CS in business systems. Then you have AI and data science 240, electrical and computer engineering 120, electronics and communications 240, electronics and computer engineering 360, robotics and AI 120, electronic engineering, VLSI design and technology 90, electronics instrumentation and control engineering 90, mechanical 120, mechatronics 60, chemical 60, civil 90, civil engineering with computer applications 30, civil engineering, electrical engineering is 90, biomedical is 30, and biotechnology is 90. In all, they have 3,390 seats. By the way, when the new season comes in, this might only go up, not come down. But with this kind of intake, if you can manage a 90-95% placement and have a median salary of 12 lakh rupees, just imagine the quality of the institution that they can actually do that. Because remember, in IITs and all, the total strength is about 600, 700, 800. It's very easy to deal with that. But when you have this kind of a student batch passing out, that becomes challenge. But the fact that they maintained that kind of a placement percentage and that kind of median salary augurs well for this institution. Now the next part of it. How do you get into this? Must be appearing in JEE Main. Minimum 60% marks in class 12th, and it is based on JEE Main examination. The only thing is you actually have within the home state and outside the home state quota, the way NITs happen. And when we looked at data in terms of what percentile gets you into anything, for computer science and whatever, it is 82, for general it is 97.82 percentile, and for SC it is outside the home state it 82.28 percentile, which is 2,61,719 rank. Similarly, for computer science engineering, it is 95.9728, whatever, 60,977 rank. And here something. COBS, 58,400 rank. COSC, 67,978 rank. Data science and AI, 54,769 rank. Right? And electronics, 69,177. ECE is 47,689. EEC is 73,624. RAI is 64,238. What it means is, you're likely to get into a branch of your choice here if you're getting about 97 percentile, which is CS and everything to do with CS, these 4 branches, right? Now, in all the NITs also you take it now, at 98 percentile also you will not get the CS branch. But at 97 also these guys give it, and here the average salary at a branch level for this would be much, much higher. In my opinion, it will be 15, 17, 18 lakh rupees. Because when the overall median salary is about 11 lakh rupees, with all those branches, then for these branches, it will be very high up there. The choice that you will be making at some level is whether you want to get into one of those NITs, IITs in a branch not of your choice, where the student placements is slightly lesser for the branch in that particular college, or a branch here, which is very active in its placement process. You're likely to get in because you can get in up to 95 percentile also, and you will get a branch of your choice in Patiala in college, which has been there for the last 70 years. That is the choice you're making. Now, if you're a student from Punjab, it actually comes down further. COE is 1,72,463. COBS is 1,78,209. COSE is 2,52,000. Data science is 2,03,000. Right? Electronics is 3,14,000. ECE is 4 lakh. So you actually get it up to 67 percentile also for ECE. But otherwise, if you get about 80 to 90 percentile, in between 80 to 90 percentile, and if you're a student who's domiciled in Punjab, then you'll get the branch of your choice in Thapar. So don't miss that out. A lot of people will say at 90 percentile, you don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance in the NITs and all. But here is a better college than some of the NITs, some of the IITs and all, and is offering you something. And the effort that they put in to place you is also very, very high. So look out for this. And this is the other thing, which is for SC/ST, it is about 59 percentile, or 6,16,000 also, you'll get into COPC and so on and so forth. This is the actual data. So if you're in a student of Punjab, you're dealing with about 80 to 90 percentile also, you'll get what you want. And if you're dealing with general, which is outside the state of Punjab, you will be between 97 and 95 to 97 percentile, you'll get into the branch of your choice. Now the next level. What is the fee structure? The total fee, of course, because it's a private institution, the fee is slightly higher here. The total program fee is about 25 lakh rupees. Semesters 8. Right, amount per semester fee is about 3 lakh rupees. And the tuition fee is about 2,15,000, development fee is 57,000 rupees. But they also have scholarships for good students. Other charges 11,000. So development is 57,000 and tuition fee is 2,15,000, 2,44,000, which leads to about 2.83 to 3.12. Now for scholarships that they have, there is a very attractive, I'll come to that also. Very recently, Thapar is one of the first colleges that partnered with NVIDIA to launch a school, this is a school that they're talking of. NVIDIA launched the Thapar School of Advanced AI and Data Sciences. They launched the Thapar School of Advanced AI and Data Sciences with about 227 petaflops, expanding to about 500 plus, and ensures AI literacy through micro-credentials electives for all students. They invested in that. They went to NVIDIA, bought everything that NVIDIA is offering, took the course from them, and they're teaching it here. And NVIDIA is one of the strongest players. If you're wanting to deal with AI, you should be dealing with NVIDIA in terms of its tech infra. And they partnered with it. So they're very forward thinking in terms of understanding what is the need of the student moving forward and invest in that space, invest in that learning, invest in that infrastructure so their students can be ahead of the curve when the time comes right. And that is the reason why I always say that you must always prefer those kind of colleges which think ahead and invest in your education. The reason the fee also is slightly higher, but look at the kind of investment that they're making, which no one in the country has done. And that augurs well again. So I told you earlier about the scholarships that are there. Now the scholarship that they have is quite good in the sense that you remember I told you about 3,000 plus students that they take. They actually give very, very good number of scholarships, and also the quality of scholarship also is very good. Like if you're in the top 50 JER, which means I'm not talking of the All India rank, but I'm talking of the top 50 students who've come through the JEE in terms of the All India rank, and the rank might be 3,000, but you're in the top 50 as far as Patiala, this is concerned, then your tuition fee is full tuition fee waiver and development fee waiver. Full waiver, which is 50 students will get it. Because anyone, as long as the top 50 of All India rank is happening, you're going to get this thing. And then the next 60 people, which is, you might be ranked 4,000, but you're in the top 110 in terms of All India rank. Next 60 people, you get all tuition fee waiver, which means you don't pay a single penny of tuition fee, only pay the development fees. That is 60 students. And then the top 10% students of the class, beyond those 110, which is 339 students, will get 50% tuition fee waiver, which means your fee comes down by about 10 lakh rupees over the 4 years. Because your fee is 2,12,000 rupees, 1,06,000 goes away. And for 330 students. So in all, if you now look at it, close to about 450 students are getting a scholarship, and you can be a part of that, which means your fee comes down dramatically. And the next level, you actually also have merit cum means, where income is less than 10 lakh rupees based on merit, and you'll get a rank, and 20 students get that. You also have merit cum means, special, where income is less than 10 lakhs, and special deserving cases, full tuition fee and DF waiver, development fee waiver, full. And that's 5 students. And merit cum means lateral entry, less than 10 lakhs, 70% in diploma, full tuition fee and 2 students. So the institution does a lot of work to ensure that the best students who actually find their way of getting into Thapar also don't suffer because they could not pay the fee, because they actually have very, very good scholarships. In fact, about 15 to 20% of the students of Thapar are getting a scholarship. About 15% are getting a scholarship if you carefully notice that. And that's the only way good colleges ensure that good students don't leave them. The way you understand the college is to understand the kind of scholarships that they have for good quality students. They call it need blind universities, which means need blind is if a good student manages to find an admission to your college, you don't let them pass by just because they cannot afford your education, your fees. And this institution, about 12 to 15% students are getting scholarship, which is extremely, extremely good. Now, what are the companies that come for placement? I told you it's been there for the last 70 years. So all kinds of companies will be there. Adobe is there, Alstom, Anand, Accenture, Amazon, Ersasium, American Express, Apple, BlackRock, it's an investment bank, Deloitte, Consulting, Bajaj, Havells, DE Shaw, EIL. EIL is Engineers India Limited or East India EIHL, that's okay. Futures First, Flipkart, Bain & Company Consulting, Nutanix, Amadeus, which is travel, Juniper Networks, L&T, Eon, Indian Oil, ST Microelectronics, JP Morgan Investment Bank, Microsoft Tech, Media.net, TCS, Maruti Suzuki, Hero, Samsung, Mahindra, Siemens, Tata Motors, Synopsys, Ericsson. So you actually have, go back to the branches that they offer. And you will find for each of the branch that they offer, they will actually find some kind of a company which is only doing that piece. That's the linkage that you're coming back to. You actually have Siemens because they offer EC and EEE. You actually have tech companies because they offer CS and everything, and so on and so forth. You also have manufacturing companies because they have mechanical and those kind of branches. And that is what you'll see in this entire thing. Now, as I told you earlier, we also wanted to understand how are the students who studied at Thapar doing, how are they performing in their life. And for that, obviously, there is one which is a presentation that they made to NIRF, which is Government of India, the data that they gave to Government of India in terms of the placements. To the site itself, the website itself talks about the kind of companies that come for placement and the kind of salaries that are being offered to the companies. That is the institution's own name. But it had to be corroborated, and what we did was we went to LinkedIn to understand how are the students who claim that they studied at Thapar School of Engineering, Thapar Institute of Technology, how are they performing in their lives? Now on LinkedIn, it's a third-party data, which means we need to aggregate and collate all the students of who claim that they studied in this particular institute. And when we looked at that, we found 49,864 students who claim that they studied at that institution. Of this 49,864, 417 currently are employed in Amazon, 406 are currently employed in Deloitte. JP Morgan Chase, currently 316 students are employed. In EY, about 134 students are employed. In fact, at some point in time, about 1,117 of these students had worked at Amazon. About 1,162 of these students had worked at Deloitte. About 635 of these number of students had worked at JP Morgan and EY. Now you think about the kind of companies that earlier I talked of who were coming for placement, you will find all these 4 companies. So it's corroborating that those companies were actually coming for placement over the many years, because of which so many students have passed through the gates of those companies, and currently so many people are working right there. But it might not stop here. We wanted to also understand whether the big companies like Google, Nvidia, Apple, whether these students have found a way of working there, either through campus placements or beyond that. Now that happens because the skill set is such that even if those companies don't come to campus for placement, you find a way of getting in because you are such a good institution, you're a student of such a good institution that you'll find a way of getting in there. So for that, we looked at what we call the MANG companies, which is Meta, Apple, Nvidia, Google, and so on and so forth. When we looked at that data, 42 students are right now working in Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. 111 students are working in Apple. Amazon, 417 students are working, Nvidia, 57 students are working, and Google, 172 students are working. In fact, Google goes for placement. So if you see here, 624 students have worked at Google at some point in time. 1,117 students worked at Amazon at some point in time. 192 students worked at Apple at some point in time. Meta, 96 students worked, and Nvidia, 104 students worked. And that is the reason possibly also that Nvidia has partnered with Thapar to set up a school, specialized school only for AI and data sciences in India. So that is what you're dealing with. For me, by the way, there is one more data point that we wanted to understand. Remember, this has been there for 70 years, right? So of the 49,000 we talked of who claimed that they studied at Thapar, and from LinkedIn, when we looked at that data, 83% of those students are working in India, which means 17% students are working world over. 17% students are working beyond India. They are now global citizens in that sense, of which 7% are in USA, 5% are in Canada, and 1% is in UAE. Now, when you have that kind of data for an institution which is based in India, 17% of them are working outside of India, you will not find this unless you're dealing with the legacy institutions like IIT Madras, Delhi, Bombay, and those kind of things. It's very difficult for you to have about 17% of your alumni working outside of India, which happens here. So that is one reason. Why are we covering all these things? We're covering this only for one simple reason. You must have options beyond the IITs and NITs. You obviously, please keep that as a plan A. The plan A that you want to study in the best IITs, the best NITs, and best IIITs. But not any IIT, any NIT, and any IIIT. That is where you make a mistake. Because what we're doing is we are uncovering about 30 colleges around the country which are locally extremely strong, deliver far, far better. The local population always goes there because they know that it is far better than some of the local national institutions that you have. You must keep those options open, because there is a great possibility that some of these institutions will be better for you than joining any NIT, any IIIT, any GFTI in any branch that they give in, because that is where you make a mistake. Even in the best IITs, you don't have placements for some branches. And in the bottom half of the NITs, IIITs, and IITs, you actually have very, very poor placements also beyond the level. Unless you're getting into a branch which is so much in demand that you would want to go there, some of the other branches are struggling. And which is we are requesting you, keep options open. Don't close your options, don't close your doors. Keep your options open for what are the other better options for you. And there, Thapar fits in. This is the third of the college that we're covering in. We'll keep covering every single day one college, which we think you should be looking at. So if you've not watched the earlier colleges, please go back and watch them. And keep continuing. Subscribe to us right now so that you know what's the fourth college that we're covering in the 5th and the 30th. It's very important for you to know what are your options, and what we're doing is we are researching a lot to ensure that you expand your options so that you actually at some point in time get into a college which is best suited for you and which will give you the student outcome that you really, really deserve. Thank you so much. Namaste.